welcome to the channel, and today we are going to work on one of a very decent tutorial, I would say, because there are different ways I would be covering how you can persist data. So this is one of the way which is using text file. So what I've done is I have a starter playground which is not doing much. So basically what exactly is doing, I will just give you a walkthrough of that. So we would be doing it in two ways. So it is in two parts. First, when you're persisting a data in a text file, it is existing somewhere. So you need to get the path. So here what we are doing is, first we are getting a path if the file is there, and if the file is not there, what we would be doing, we would be creating a file on that specific path. So, and then there are two operations we wanted to do. We wanted to write data and we wanted to read data from the file. So here I have created a class called readWriteText. Okay, it has a property which says directory URL. So it will try to fetch the URL. So for that I have a method which says file URL. Right now it is not doing anything. That's what we are going to do in this tutorial. And then there are operations. We'll write onto the file and we'll read from the file. So before I go ahead, I'll explain this part where so this is clear. This is from somewhere we'll get the URL, which I'm going to show you. And the second part, writing to the file. So writing to the file, what we will do, first we need to know where the file is. So get the file URL, then write the string to the file. And if there is an error, there could be a case when error can happen when you are writing, you are doing a write operation. Okay, similarly it will go in the read file also. You will try to get the file URL, read the string, and if the string doesn't exist, it will give you an error, and then you return the string. Here you see, here in the method signature, what we are giving is, we are saying what string to be written, what is the file name, and the extension of the file, which is by default text, because in this tutorial we would be doing it only the text files will be checking. And the second one is the read operation. In that, what we wanted to do is, we wanted to read the text and return it. Start. The very first thing we wanted is the file manager. We wanted to get the directory URL. How we would be getting it, I have written on the top though. So file manager is the one which we would be using it. I will show you. I will call this method file manager. This is a singleton class which gives an access to us. So what we wanted is, how we wanted is, we wanted a URL for that specific file. So how I would be getting it, URL file for, yes. So this is the method we should be using it. We need to say like from where we wanted it. So we wanted it from document directory. I will explain this all in a minute. And it says the path domain. I'll explain you what all domains we have. But we would be using a user domain mask. Okay, appropriate for nil. And if it is not there, let's go ahead and say, go ahead and create it, and then return the URL. This is command, and then you press. So you could see here we have a search path directory. So this is the default search path directory. We have enum with different things where we are actually wanted to point to the document directory, and then we have what user domain mask we wanted to use is user domain mask. Then we have something called local domain mask. So why we are using user domain mask? User home directory we wanted to access, place to install user personal items. So this is what we wanted to do it. And if you wanted to do it somewhere where everybody can access it, then you can use the local domain mask. And why we are getting the error is this method can throw. So how we can silent this warning is, we can say try and let it return something. So since our return type is optional, it might return nil also. So this is what it is. Okay, but since we say create, let's say we have the URL always. Okay, so this will return URL, and it says this value is an optional value. Let me say like, okay, I'm sure like it will create a URL and pass it. Okay, so the second part what we wanted to do is create a URL. Okay, so here I have done, but since what we would be doing is, instead of this is how we construct the URL. We'll say I have a document directory URL. This is the URL computed property I have. On the top of it, I will say append path component which with the file name. So I will pass here file name, and then what I wanted to do is I have given the file, but now the extension also should be given. So I'll say again appending component with path extension. Yeah, so this is the method we would be using here. What we need to pass is file extension. Okay, so then what I will do is I'll return the URL. So this is one part of it where we have actually created the URL. Okay, so the URL is created. Now what we have to do is we need to do two operations, which is write to the file and then read to the file. So let's get started. Get the file URL. We have a method which will do that. So I will say let my URL here, which should be this method called file URL. I need to give a file name. Okay, so this is the file name which I would be passing later when I would be making the call to these functions. So what we need to do is file name, what we have here, we are passing it file name, and then file extension we have. So let's pass the file name extension, which is by default text, since we are working on the text thing. Okay, now since once I get the URL, the second thing what I need to do is I need to perform a write operation. So how I will do, so so I'll say write string dot write. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to write a string. Which method I would be using? I will be using this because we need to encode and do it. Okay, so writing to URL, I have the URL with me which I just constructed. Now automatically we'll say true, and encoding will UTF-8 encoding. Okay, so this is fine. So now this says this can throw, so I'm going to cover this in the do, and then I have another block catch. Okay, so we're gonna wrap this into a try. Okay, so we're gonna make a try to write onto the file. If it doesn't happen, then what we're gonna do is we're gonna catch the error. So let's say I am saying error, ns error, I have the error, and I'll say print my error. So I'll say fail string. Okay, string to where we are trying to write is URL, and we can say like, okay, how we can catch where exactly it is trying to write and it's not able to write it. Okay, so this is the URL. We can print error as well, and I'll say error is equal to, I can just get it, so we'll get the localized description of that. So error dot description, so this will print. So no compiler warnings. So what we did is we get the file URL, write the string to the file, and if error, and print. So we are done with the writing operation. Let's do the read operation. So read operation, we again will do the almost same. So let me copy here and say we get the file URL, yes, and now instead of write, we need to do the read operation. So once we have the file, this thing, let's see, we'll say my read string, which I have created it here, empty string, it will try to read it. Okay, so let me try with the string. From where I wanted to do is, let me see, auto suggestion, it should say content of, yes, content of URL. Okay, I don't know why the, so it's not coming. So content of URL, once I have the URL, uh, okay, read string to a let constant. So okay, what mistake I have done, it has to be where, since I have this could throw, so I need to cover this also in a do and catch, and the similar way how we have done let ns error. Okay, so I'll try to read the string. Now I think the warning should go off, and similarly I'll say okay, if the fail happens, you do that, reading the string from the URL. Okay, URL, and this is what we have done. So let me go through it again. We create a directory URL, file manager default document directory we would be accessing, and then we would be mentioning the user domain mask when it is specific to the user. And once this is the method which we would be constructing the URL, this would be doing the write operation for us, and this would be doing the read file operation. Okay, cursor, I'll say I wanted to print a message. So let's do hello world. Okay, and now let me give the file name. So text file name, I wanted to name it something, read write text. Okay, so once this is given, now let me create a operation. My let operation is equal to my instance of my class. Perfect. And now dot, let me write to the file first, and I wanted to message and message and to text file name. So let me give it a message and to file text file extension. Perfect. So what we did here, we created a message, we created the file name where we wanted to store the information. We didn't give any extension to it. So you could, if you go to this method, what we are doing is we are giving file extension default as a txt file. Okay, so let me run this. So I wanted to print a message, and let's see, I tried, and then here when I'm getting the file URL, how I can access that, this you could just see. So I'll say open URL to check if I have anything here. Yes, the file is created and your text is written on the top of it, hello world. Okay, let's see if it reflects. And now let me update. If I wanted to update the text, I will say okay, this was weird, I just deleted the same and typed again the same, hello you. Okay, and let me quickly run this, and let me access the file. I will just open it, and directly when I access that, it says hello you. You can go in detail here, you can get the hierarchy where we are accessing the library, then developer, then we have devices, and this is where we are actually trying to access our documents, and this is where the file is created. So this is one way of persisting data in iOS platform. There are multiple ways. I would be covering that in the coming tutorials. And another thing is I would be active on this channel now. So I'm planning to create some set of applications. I would like to hear from you. If you have any application concept in your head, you wanted me to create a tutorial on that, please mention that in the comment section. So I will see if I could cover that. I will try my best to cover all that. Okay, so thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.